Hi, boys and girls. My name is DeeDee Rasmussen, and I am the chairman of the school board for Leon County. And I wanted to talk to you today about reading. I know you're excited to get to hear some people read and maybe win some prizes, and that's really fun. I hope you'll enjoy reading just because it's fun. I find it to be a great escape from whatever is stressing me out or got me down. I can read a book and be in a whole nother place for a while. So that's really fun. But also I get to read to learn new information. And sometimes my favorite books are those that help me grow as a person and change my life. So this book I'm going to read, I bet you know the story. It's called The Little Boy Who Cried Wolf. And I'm going to read this story to you just to remind you how important it is not to do that, so that when you really are in trouble, somebody will come running. So this is the story about a little shepherd boy, and he was supposed to be taking care of his sheep. And this is what happened. So there was a young boy who lived in a village. He wasn't very old, but he had a really important job. He was a shepherd, and his job was to guard the village's sheep from all the dangerous things out there. The shepherd boy also had to make sure that the sheep got plenty of food, and every day he took them to a nearby valley to eat the grass. The shepherd boy wasn't really all alone. The village people worked nearby, and if a wolf ever did attack, the people could run to the rescue. The villagers counted on the shepherd boy to do his job. And they never felt like they had to check on him because they trusted him to do his job. The shepherd watched the sheep from his lookout post. He could also see the people hard at work. Some days they worked at their jobs in the village. Sometimes they did other chores. For the shepherd boy, every day was the same. He looked at the sheep, they looked the same. He looked at the forest, it looked the same. In his whole life, the boy had never seen a wolf come even near the sheep. In fact, he had never seen a wolf. Some people told stories of hearing wolves howl in the forest. The boy had never heard any howling. Sometimes even wondered if there really were any wolves. One day, the shepherd tried to make things more exciting. He thought, maybe I could play games with the sheep. He planned his next day, and he smiled when he thought about the fun he would be having playing games. So the boy woke up early the next morning, kissed his parents goodbye, hurried off to take the sheep into the valley. He tried to play games with the sheep, but they didn't want to play catch. They weren't interested in trying to throw the ball or chase the ball. They didn't even want to try to kick the ball. All the sheep wanted to do was eat grass and take a nap. This isn't any fun at all, thought the shepherd boy. The shepherd boy walked slowly back to his lookout post. He could tell the wind was blowing because it made the treetops move. I wonder, he said, thinking out loud, what is on the other side of those trees? The boy smiled to himself. Would it be so bad to pretend that there was a wolf, he thought? This could be a good joke. As the sheep ate the grass, he cupped his hand by his mouth and shouted, "Wolf! Wolf! A wolf is stealing the sheep! Come help me!" And the village people stopped everything they were doing and ran to help scare the wolf away. And when they got there, they were very confused. The villagers did not find a wolf. And where was the shepherd? They were worried about him. A villager pointed to the tree and said, "There he is, over there. Is he okay?" They saw that he was not hurt. In fact, he was laughing. "You looked so funny running up here for no good reason. Ha, ha, ha. That was just a joke," laughed the boy. The villagers did not laugh, and they did not think that was funny. They had been very frightened for the boy and for their sheep. They did not feel like laughing at all. They shook their heads and said, "We have to get back to work. We don't have time for pranks." The shepherd boy hardly heard a word they said. He was laughing so hard he thought he was so funny. At breakfast the next day, the boy's mother and father had told him to be good, and he nodded his head and left to tend the sheep. Soon, however, he was bored again. "Wolf! Wolf!" he shouted, louder than the day before. "A wolf is stealing the sheep! He's stealing the sheep! Come help me! Help, help, help!" Again, the villagers came running, and again, there was no wolf in sight. This time, the village people were very upset. "If you don't tell people the truth all the time, they won't know when to believe you," they said. The boy was still laughing at his joke, but he did start to think about what they had said. Maybe, he thought, it isn't so funny to trick people. On the other side of the trees, a wolf had been watching. And when the shepherd reached his post, the wolf began stealing the sheep. The shepherd couldn't believe it. It was a real wolf. And he cried, "Help, help, wolf, wolf! A wolf is stealing the sheep!" He waited for the villagers to come running, but no one did. they weren't going to fall for that trick again. This time, though, it was no trick. There was really a wolf, and the little boy was scared. The boy tried yelling for help again, but no one came. He could only watch as the wolf ran off into the forest with all the sheep. This time, the only one laughing was the wolf. The shepherd boy ran to the village. "Wolf, wolf," he cried. "He's stealing our sheep, he's stealing our sheep." "Yeah, I bet," said one villager. "I can't believe that boy's trying to make fools out of us again." "Well, he's not going to make a fool out of me," said another villager. "I don't believe him, and I'm not going to stop what I'm doing to go over there and check on him." Finally, the shepherd boy stopped running. "I'm telling the truth this time," he said. "There really is a wolf in the valley, and he really is stealing our sheep. You've got to believe me." The villagers came and looked at the boy. They shook their fingers at him. "We're smarter than you think," the people said. "This time, we are just going to ignore you and your wolf." The shepherd boy knew no one would believe him. He sadly walked back to his lookout. He gazed down to where he always took his sheep to eat grass, but there weren't any sheep left. And the boy was so sad that he began to cry. He remembered what his parents had told him. He wished how he had listened to what they had said. He wished he had just always told the truth. He didn't want any harm to come to the sheep. Because he didn't tell the truth, no one believed him when it really mattered. Now it was just too late. The shepherd boy didn't think his joke was so funny anymore. So this is something to think about. The shepherd boy learned the hard way about the importance of being sincere. When he played tricks on the villagers, he paid a really big price for a small joke. And as much fun as it is to laugh, there's also a time to be sincere, right? We can be funny, but not with matters that are really important. In this case, he could have gotten hurt too by the wolf. So if you were one of the villagers, would you know when to believe the shepherd boy? How do you think it felt to be tricked? And what are ways you can be sure people know you are always telling the truth?